Hey everybody, welcome to the Classic Movie Gush, number 16 going on 17, as Melissa
Nice.
would cleverly say. We are talking today about a movie that might finally divide us gushers.
It
It is,
might. It
it
just
is
might.
The Sound of Music. Oh boy, oh
Yay!
boy. Now, obviously we were going to have to do The Sound of Music eventually, and
hmm
since there is a big anniversary this year, or no, it's not the anniversary, it's the Carrie Underwood special. They're doing, what is she doing? Like the stage
I
play
don't
or
know.
just the songs? I think she's releasing a CD, but they're actually performing
Really.
something on TV, something like that. So we,
Yeah.
we knew that The Sound of Music was about to come back into the water cooler discussion, so we figured we'd take a look at the original, which made Melissa Tagg very excited.
Yes, super happy. I'm
You love
excited to
this
talk about
movie.
this. I do love this movie. I
I
really
watched it.
love it. Well, that's an accomplishment, you know. I'm proud of you.
I gotta be honest. Can I confess something to you?
You can totally confess, but
Okay, look, it is not outside of the realm of reasonability to start watching a movie and fall asleep and then to finish it later. That happens.
I do that all the time. That's okay.
I think all in all, I saw almost all of it. I think I actually missed. I hear there was a wedding involved. They actually got married or
You
something.
didn't you didn't see the wedding? What? That's depressing. She wears a dress with a train that's like 14 feet long and you missed it.
I missed a great dress. Well, you know me
You did.
because I never want to miss a great dress.
Really sad for you that you missed that.
Okay, before we start, and before I turn the big question to you,
All
let
right.
me say this. I don't hate The Sound of Music at all.
Well,
Like,
good. I'm glad you don't
um,
hate it.
I just don't really enjoy The Sound of Music, the whole thing. And here's conflict number one. It's one of my mom's favorite movies.
Well, then you should like it out of kindness.
But I always
Have
say how my
you-
mom introduced me to all these great movies. My mom has great movie influence in my life. I'm not there on this one. But you're about to tell us what The Sound of
uh,
Music is about and why
what's
you
that?
love it so much. For those people that are like, oh my God, who is this man talking about The Sound of Music and doesn't even understand?
Yeah, okay, let's talk about this. The Sound of Music is a really great movie, and it's based on the stage play. Here's the thing, it's probably the most beloved musical of all time. I
Oh,
mean,
oh,
really, it is,
what?
it is, it is,
Wait,
it
did you say
is. And
most?
yes, yes, it's like the longest running, most loved musical ever.
You said it again.
Like,
What about Singing
ever.
in the Rain?
I know. Singing, okay, they are two different things. Singing
They're
in the
both
Rain was
musicals.
first. Yes, yes, but Singing in the Rain was a movie musical. It was never, I mean, it's been a stage play since it was a movie musical, but
Okay.
it was a movie first. Sound of Music was a stage play adapted into a musical. And everybody loves it, and it's it's basically like the Super Bowl. Like here we are, like
Have you watched the
okay,
Super
okay,
Bowl?
yes, I have. Okay, here's the thing. I'm not really into football, right? But I will totally watch the Super Bowl every year because I respect the greatness of that event. It's like the most loved athletic event in our country. Sound of Music, even if you're not into musicals, you have to watch it just out of respect for its position at the top of the musical world.
Okay, hold on. Can I say
So,
something?
so
Before we
you,
finish this broadcast, I'm going to tell
you
you
can.
something that is going to shock you. I haven't told you this yet.
Okay.
It's coming later on.
All right. Just make sure I'm not taking a drink or something.
Okay, so to recap so
Okay.
far, The Sound of Music is
It's okay.
basically like the Super Bowl,
Yes.
and you're referring to NFL football.
Yes, I do know what the Super Bowl is.
Okay, now
Okay.
first of all, that's a huge caveat because if you're saying best musical in as far as it was a stage play and then adapted to screen,
Right.
okay, so that gives you a reason to be saying it over Singing in the Rain.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, what about the Muppets Take Manhattan, though? I mean,
That's a good movie.
that's a great movie.
It is a yes. I don't know. It's kind of in its own category because it's the Muppets. I mean,
Okay.
is it a musical? I don't know.
Okay.
But
The Sound of Music has puppets.
yeah, it does have puppets. So here's a little truth about me. I've been watching Sound of Music like my entire life. I
Okay.
loved it as a kid. Well, when I was really, really young, I hated the fact that Nazis came into it and that the Von Trapp family left their house because I loved their house. I thought it was amazing and I wanted to live there. So after the puppet scene in the movie, I would always stop watching it because that was like the point at which I was like, I'm just gonna believe that they did their puppets, and I knew that after that everything was gonna be okay with the captain and Maria, and I could just pretend that they all went on living in their house together forever.
I'm glad you
So,
said that for completely
yeah.
different reasons. I also could have
Okay.
ended the movie there. Um, although my childhood viewing that included Nazis was more Raiders of the Lost Ark, but that's beside the point. And it is kind of funny, right? You're watching the opening scene of The Sound of Music, and it's got all these credits, and then it says puppeteer. And as you mentioned, what kind of movie has puppets and Nazis? It's
And nuns.
and nuns.
Yeah.
So, okay, before we disagree a lot more,
A lot more.
and maybe I surprised you with some things I really like about this film. What is the breakdown Sound of Music? Because everybody has not seen it, contrary to your statement.
There may be a couple people here and there in the world that have not seen it.
Oh, you
So
just
what?
wait. Go ahead.
What's it about? Well, okay. This movie is based on the actual Von Trapp family. And just as a side note, I read the biography of the Von Trapp family probably 40 times growing up. Anyway,
Oh, wow.
I checked it out from the library like over and over. This was back when the librarian wrote your name on the card and it just said my name over and over.
Over and over and over. That's great.
Anyway, so Maria is the main character. She's played by Julie Andrews, and she is attempting to be a nun. She's in the whatever the training program is called for nuns, but she's not a very good nun. She kind of does everything wrong. And so she gets sent out to be a governess for Captain Von Trapp's family. And Captain Von Trapp is a widower, and he has 7 precocious children. And so basically it's the story of her leaving the convent and going to his house, being a governess, promptly falling in love with him, and he's really strict and stern, and so she teaches the kids to loosen up and to have a good time, and eventually he loosens up and has a good time. And in the midst of all of this, the Nazi regime is starting to come to power, and they want Captain Von Trapp to be a part of their navy. Takes place in Austria, by the way. And so they end up having to leave the country and flee over the mountains to get away from the Nazis.
To Switzerland.
Yeah, to Switzerland. And there's other stuff that happens. I mean, there's a lot of songs, and there's other stuff, but that's the basic gist.
Apparently you can walk over the Alps.
Yeah. Actually, that's not what they did. In real life, they got on a train and went to Italy.
But you have
But,
to admit, I would never say that my beef with this movie is for Hollywooding it up. Now,
Yeah.
to be clear, I'm definitely not against musicals, and sure, I could say that like Cabaret is like one of the most horrendous things ever made, or Chicago. I will never watch Chicago
Yeah.
in my entire life because why subject myself? I once had to watch Mamma Mia because I lost a
I
bet
hate that movie.
and I had to review it. Right, so. I'm not saying Sound of Music is anywhere near the terrible, god-awful musicals.
Thank you.
It's just that for me, it is slow, and I feel like it does its job very well of telling this story, but it's missing punch at almost every turn. And the interesting thing about you saying that you wish it would have ended there when you were a kid is that as I watched it afresh now, and again, this movie must have been on a lot because I know like 5 of the songs. So clearly the music is kind of like prevalent throughout society or whatever, or it was just my mom because I could sing along to definitely 4 or 5 of the songs. But it's actually most interesting until Von Trapp turns. Like his character arc happens before the intermission. And
Mhm.
I love the scene where he's ready to throw her out. He comes in, she's got the kids singing to the Baroness, and it's this
Mhm.
really amazing scene. And that has an emotional impact on me when he's in the doorway and he realizes what he has become because Christopher Plummer plays him, had lost his wife, and
Mhm.
that's the moment he realizes he hasn't been there as a father. He's been running from his problems, and he's been denying his children their dad. And he jumps in and sings, and it's not cheesy or corny. It's a really beautiful scene.
Mhm.
I
It's a
love
great
it.
scene.
And then he asks her to stay, and then it goes to the now they're having a great time, the fun puppet show. To
Mhm.
me, the credits could almost roll at that point because whatever, we've seen our
Yeah.
story, and although the fun stuff with like the ending is coming up, it's just
Yeah.
I don't know.
It is kind of like the last third. They're like, oh yeah, now let's have a physical plot as well, and so they bring in the Nazis,
Yeah.
and it kind of has its own little. Because I mean, they really don't even mention that much about world events too much before kind of the third act.
Yeah, I think there's a
I
little
can
bit with
see it.
Rolf, the young
Yeah.
boy who,
Yeah.
what's her name, Liesel is
Yep.
trying to, she likes, and
Mhm.
he's kind of like taken back that, Captain Von Trapp,
Yeah, he's captain.
Captain Von Trapp isn't
Yes.
on board seemingly, and a lot of people kind of wonder why.
Mhm.
In Austria, historically, they're waiting for basically Hitler's first move is going to be to take down the border between Germany and
Mhm.
Austria, right? So that's the historical setting. And again, you would think that me being the history guy and this being based on a true story, it's almost frustrating me because I feel like I always like those movies. And this one, maybe it's because that is denied so much that I wish it was more prevalent.
I don't know. Maybe
You don't know what to
it's
say.
yeah. It's a musical, so it's never gonna have like
I know.
it's not gonna have the great story impact. You watch it more for the experience of the
Getting a
musical.
nap.
No,
Oh,
I'm not
oh,
taking a
oh.
nap.
What's your favorite song?
My favorite song is Edelweiss. That and
Really?
actually my favorite of the whole movie is at the end when they sing that, and they're in front of this. There's a big music festival going on, and the family is trying to escape Austria, but they get caught, and so they go to this music festival and they sing at it, knowing that they have to get out quickly because the captain is going to be arrested and forced to serve in the Navy. Um, anyway, so they sing that song and it's super emotional, and I love that. I love that one.
Is that where he ends up
Apparently,
on the stage by himself finishing the solo?
yeah, yeah, and apparently Christopher Plummer hated that song and tried to get them to change it and thought it was like a stupid cheesy song, but it's so pretty. I don't
Plus
know
one
why he wouldn't
Christopher
like
plus
it.
one Christopher Plummer.
It's
My
so
mom, I'm,
good.
I'm gonna hear it because my mom's probably gonna say Edelweiss is my favorite song too.
It's a good song. Oh, yeah. I don't know what my second. Oh, I know what my second favorite song is. It's when Maria sings "I've Got the Confidence" song. I just love it. It's so spazzy and she's so nervous as she sings it. She trips in the middle of that song too, which was not like that was an actual trip, but they left it in just because it fit her kind of spazziness during it.
Oh,
I
okay.
really like that song. At the beginning of that song, she is standing outside the convent, and that one shot is actually the convent that Maria went to. Most of the other shots
Okay.
aren't at all historically accurate or geographically accurate, but that one scene is. So like
We
that
haven't
song.
mentioned the director to do a little classic movie Gush
Oh yeah,
continuity.
oh
His
yeah.
name is Robert Wise. He won the Academy Award. Now, in 1965, this film came out. It won 5 Oscars,
Mhm.
and Wise also won the Best Director and Best Picture for West Side Story in 1961.
Mhm.
And he was also nominated for Best Film Editing for Citizen Kane, which we talked about a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, and he was asked like three different times to direct this. The first time he's like, no, it's way too overly sweet. And he said no to it. So they had several different other people come in that they actually tried to get Gene Kelly to direct it, and he said no. Eventually, William Wyler signed on to it, And he actually went as far as going to Austria and doing some research. He met with some nuns actually at the convent.
Okay.
He met with the actual Maria, but then his heart wasn't in it, and he said he wanted to make it a little bit more actiony, do more with the Nazis. So he eventually left, and then they went back to Robert Wise.
So what I'm hearing is all the directors that would have made it more likable for me dropped out.
Yeah, I guess.
The producers wanted to be more.
They cared about people like me.
Yeah. You know what? I will say this. My favorite musical scene. It's kind of, I don't know if you call it a montage or whatever. It's the first time they do Do Re Mi, and she's teaching the kids the scales. And then, like, they're tromping all through the hillside, and then they keep, like...
They're riding bikes.
It's like day after day, the costumes change. There's some neat stuff there. I always thought that was a fun song. And, you know, there is a lot of really beautiful photography. Mm-hmm, they obviously start and finish with the mountains, the castle. I mean, it's... Mm-hmm. Yes, you definitely want to live in the castle when you think about the fact that that's actually a thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now I've got to tell you. I've got to tell you a couple things because you know I'm feeling guilty.
You don't have to feel guilty.
Well, I don't feel guilty. I'm like I wanted to like it more. You know, I wanted to come through and be like, yes, Clay, you're an adult now and you watched this movie and you got it, right? And it didn't happen. So I was like, well, I wonder where it is in my my Entertainment Weekly top 100 movies of all time. So I was flipping through, you know, because there's a lot of movies in here, and I figured it would be somewhere, but. It didn't show up in the top 50, and then it wasn't in the top 100, and then it wasn't even an honorable mention. So, but I thought never to fear, because when we do these, and when I want to really know a little bit more about a movie, the last thing I like to do is to read what Roger Ebert said about it, right? He died last year. Well, no. And so I was like, I'm going to go read Roger Ebert's review of The Sound of Music, right? Now, as you know, he in the final years of his life, he wasn't able to speak. He became a real active blogger. He was active on Twitter, and he still did a ton of interviews. And in 2011, the year before he died, he actually, or maybe 2 years, he was doing a big-time interview with some arts culture thing, and they were asking all these questions, and he was giving all these answers. And I thought I should tell you, because I couldn't find a review from Roger Ebert. Like, how does that happen? The guy's seen every movie from Canada to Austria to Japan to America. And the interviewer said in 2011 that he got to thinking, is there still a movie people will be surprised to learn you've never seen? And Roger Ebert said, The Sound of Music.
What?
He never even watched The Sound of Music.
I don't know if I can trust him anymore now.
Well, he's dead.
He never... Okay, but...
Roger Ebert.
He just negated all the great things he's done. Okay, no, he didn't. But did he say why he never watched it?
Nope. I can give you some theories.
No, I just don't feel good about this at all.
Are you surprised? That's shocking.
That does shock me. I don't understand how you become like the most well-known movie critic ever, and you don't see Sound of Music. Basically, we've one-upped Roger Ebert now by watching.
It wasn't in the book. Well, look, I
have my Sound of Music companion book, and it says it's the most loved musical of all time.
Wait, hold that up. What is that?
The Sound of Music. I do not carry it with me. I just found it this weekend.
Oh, you are such a fan.
I am such a fan. I love it.
Oh, how many times have you watched The Sound of Music?
I do not know how many times I've watched it, but I will tell you that once as a kid, okay, so we watched this a lot as kids, and we played Sound of Music. Well, once we were at church playing. Sound of Music? Yes, we just played it. All right, I don't know. We pretended we were the characters. Okay. We were at church going around saying Heil Hitler, and got in trouble. We didn't realize what we were saying. We just thought we were just like, that's just what bad guys say when they're saying hi.
Wow.
That is how young I was when I was watching this.
That is one of the greatest church kid stories I've ever heard.
It is really. But we were just like, well, we're just playing bad guys, and that's what bad guys say.
Right.
But,
yeah.
Yeah, so, don't say Heil Hitler in church, you'll get in trouble.
It's good advice.
Oh.
There's more than just movie debate here at the Gush.
Yeah,
we're offering life.
Help you live life. Well, I don't know how to feel about Roger Ebert anymore. I don't know.
What are you gonna do? I mean, I knew you're stuck.
I mean,
on that one.
I can't do anything about it because he's dead. But
yeah.
I mean, I don't know what I could have done if he was alive either. But
he had his chance. He
did, and then he died, and he missed it.
He was a professional movie critic since the '60s.
I think we should do some digging and figure out why he didn't watch it.
I read a few articles of people reacting to that interview.
What did they say?
A couple people were like, "What?" And I was just like, I get it. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of movies out there, and
yeah, but it's Sound of Music. It's not like it's like a stupid movie. It's Sound of Music. Yeah. I don't understand how you go your whole life without seeing Sound of Music. It's on TV constantly.
I know. And there's a lot of other channels, I guess, is what people do.
No, I'm not.
Now, there's probably some people watching this and some of your readers who they probably haven't seen Sound of Music. And I wonder how they're going to feel about it now, if they're going to feel motivated or if they're just going to be like, well, Roger Ebert never watched it.
I'm pretty sure they're going to trust me over Roger Ebert.
Because I will say this. I do feel shocked that I have that up on him. I can now say I watched 73% of a movie he never watched.
You haven't just watched 73% of it. You've, had an intelligent discussion giving a review of it. So
and let's be honest. That's why
go
we're
watch
here.
The rest of it, though. Yeah.
I mean, I know what happens.
Yeah, but you missed the 14-foot train on the dress. That
is something else.
Yeah.
All right, so the final thoughts on The Sound of Music.
My final thought is don't listen to Roger Ebert or Clay and watch Sound of Music because it's edifying.
Or Entertainment Weekly.
It'll make you feel good about your life. It's got nuns and Nazis and
it does have that.
Music and puppets and lots of kids and Christopher Plummer. So, don't miss out. Don't go your whole life like Roger Ebert without seeing it.
Oh, a public service announcement from Melissa Tag.
Yeah. Yep.
And coming up in a few days, I'm going to put a little other special treat on my blog at claywrights.com in conjunction with this post. For those of you who maybe don't want to watch the movie, you'd like to see a special trailer, I'm going to put that together for you.
Yeah, I would highly recommend watching that.
All right, so there it is. Number 16 is in the books. I made it, everybody. I mean, let's forget the celebration of The Sound of Music. Let's celebrate the fact that I have now seen it, and my mom can. Well, now I don't even think she'll be proud because she's gonna smack me now.
Maybe if you watch it a few more times, maybe it's one of those things that would grow on you. Although I realize that a few more times is like committing to 12 or 15 more hours of watching it, but.
It's probably not going to happen. But the music is timeless. I will always sing the songs that I know.
You will always sing the songs that you know?
But if you're going to try to make me watch Mary Poppins, we've got to wait, so I need some time to recover.
Mary Poppins is trippy and great. We will have to watch it sometime.